Valentine's Day is getting really close, but I wanted to squeeze in one or two, maybe more Valentine's DIYs for you. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make this elegant lit up heart. If you want to learn how to make it, well, then follow me. What's up, Glue Dots? I'm Elaine, the Midnight Crafter. And as I said, Valentine's Day is just around the corner, so you still have time to make a couple more DIYs. This one, it in my head started out so differently than it ended up, and it was a little bit of drama in the process, and I don't know if that's going to translate on camera, but behind the scenes was bit of a fiasco. But anyway, I love the way it turned out. I think it's really glamorous and elegant, and I think that anybody who's at least into the glam style is really gonna love it. I do give some suggestions during the video on how you can make it a little more of a farmhouse or shabby chic style if you'd like to. Before I get to showing it to you though, you know the drill. I would love it if you join our Glue Dot family by hitting that subscribe button down below, and don't forget that bell next to it, because then that way it'll inform you when I upload new videos. Also, leave me a comment because I really do love hearing from you, and give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying my videos. I also want to remind you that down below in the description box is where you're going to find all the items needed for this project, as well as contact information for me and the link to enter to win a very cute little Bling owl keychain, which I do the drawing for the first of every month, right around 2:30, 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. So without further ado, let's get to this really cool project. So we're going to be starting off by taking this heart and pretty much disassembling it. So you're going to pull this love off of there. You can try and save it if you want for another project. Sometimes it comes off easily and in one piece, and sometimes not. So, and then I find to remove this tinsel, it seems like it's the easiest starting from up here at the top. There's these little nub things that it's attached onto, and you just kind of unattach it from those little top nubs and then just start removing it. It's pretty easy overall. Once you get it started, it just goes really quick. It's just getting it initially started off those first couple of little nubbies on the top. Okay, so now that we're down to this point, we're just going to go ahead and remove any other items like the little plastic tag, the little string that's on here, and then we're going to be cutting off those little nubs that we're holding the tinsel on. The easiest way that I have found to take these off is you can either use a pair of wire cutters, or what is even easier and cheaper are these nail trimmers, the pet nail trimmers from Dollar Tree. So these work great. You're just going to go around and you're going to cut off all the little nubs as if you're trimming your pet's nails. And you want to try and go as close as possible to the main plastic part here. I got a little aggressive with mine and I actually broke it, but it's not going to be too much of a problem because we're going to be gluing two of these back to back. And then also up here, I did the same thing, trying to get it out of that center part. So be a little bit careful. It's, again, if it's at least one of your hearts is going to be intact, you should be fine. So you're going to go through and do that to both of your hearts. You can see now also we have some little things where the plastic wasn't so good, the way that hearts were made. And so what you're going to do for those is take your X-Acto knife and go through and just trim those off. They do trim off pretty easy. Go away from yourself is probably a better plan. But any little ones that you see anywhere, they pretty much just scrape right off. The other one you're going to want to remove is this little tab right here. So carefully, and try and not to cut yourself and also not break the heart at the same time. No heart breaking here. We're lovers, not heartbreakers. Well, I guess maybe that's both. But you can actually snip that off if, kind of work it back and forth and it'll break off. So if you cut the short side. So we're gonna go around and just get all of this cleaned up and then we'll move on. Once you finish both of the hearts and you're satisfied with the way they look, you're going to take them outside and give them a spraying with whatever metallic paint or white, whatever color paint that you would like to spray them with. This time I'm going with the gold metallic, which means I'm also then going to be using the gold diamond wrap. So if you do the silver metallic, then you probably want to do the silver diamond wrap. Or if you're doing white and you want to do a farmhouse style, you may be then using some nautical rope or some twine or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this painted and be right back. Okay, so a couple things we can do while we're waiting on our hearts to dry is to take your string of crystals. Now these are actually the glass crystals. I just like the feel of them better. I just think they look nicer. You can certainly get the plastic ones if you'd like, and I have the link down below where I got these and also where I got this teardrop one as well. So you can check down below. The price is pretty reasonable and I got them on Amazon, but I will leave that link below. So what we're going to be doing is while you're waiting for the other parts to dry, you're going to do 8 pieces that are just one individual crystal with the hook like this, and then you're going to do 20 pieces that are 2 crystals and the hook. So work on that, and once you get those done, another thing we can work on is we're going to take our flowers. You can use whatever flowers you have on hand. And what we're going to be doing with those is using them to hide this battery pack for our lights. So make sure that you don't glue your battery pack shut, but what we're going to be doing is just taking various flowers and gluing them on there so that we can sort of hide this. And you do want to be able to leave some access for you to get in to change the batteries. So I've decided to use 2 battery packs because I really love a lot of lights. I just think it looks so pretty and adds so much. You don't have to use 2, it's up to you. I glued the back sides together because again, you need to make sure to have those batteries accessible so you can change them out. And then our cords are going to be on the bottom side, and I'm just gluing my flowers on. Now I just cut the little nubby off this with my nail, my pet trimming, with my pet nail trimmers. I don't know why that's so complicated. And then I'm just going to go ahead and place them in various spots and just get this all covered up. But just make sure you can get to that screw and then the bottom side here where we actually turn them on and off. Oops, well, I guess when you cut that nub off, it also cuts the other part off, so that could be a bit of a problem. Make sure that you glue everything together. If it comes apart, you might have to glue those on separately. It didn't look like it was going to do that. But now I guess each layer is doing that, so just don't cut the nubby down as far as I did, I guess is the moral of the story. Oh, for goodness sake. I am having to glue every little layer of petals on, so I guess Confucius say, he who cut too much off nub loses petals. So be aware not to cut too much off that little nubby, and I'm so glad that you guys can learn from my mistakes. So anyway, here's what we got going so far. I'm going to keep working on this and get it covered, and then we'll move on to the next step. Actually, before we do completely glue all the flowers in place, what I do want to do is take a piece of your bling wrap, and you're going to be making something to actually hang this from. So you can use, I think I'm just going to use maybe 2 layers of my bling wrap and create a little loop, and then I'm going to be gluing that on here so that I have something to hang this from directly. You can make your hook as long or as short as you want it to be. 6 inches seems about right. It gives you enough to actually have attached to the plastic and enough to actually make a decent size loop. Alrighty, so I'm going to carry on and get the rest of this covered with my flowers, and then we're going to move on to our next step with our gold heart. Okay, here's how my little battery pack turned out. I had to throw a few leaves in there just to, I didn't have enough of the white flowers. So anyway, we're going to set this aside now, and we're going to take the heart and we're going to start attaching our little crystals. So what you're going to do, the same way you would put a key on a key ring, it's just a little split ring hoop here. You're just going to split that ring and pass it over each section of your plastic. If your heart has not dried really well, like overnight, it is going to take some of the paint off. Don't worry, you're going to get a few little scratches anyway, but it's really not so bad. It doesn't really show. And once you get the hang of this, it goes quicker, but initially getting the first one going. So what you're going to be doing is attaching your crystals to each section. So your double crystals will go on the bigger sections, and then your small single crystals are going to go on your small sections. So go through and get all of those little crystals on, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Okay, once you have all your crystals on there, what you're going to want to do is put, because they do slide around and we want them to kind of stay put. So we're going to be doing one little dot of glue on the spot where you want it to sit exactly. So the trickiest ones are these ones here that are on the edges. The other ones are not so bad because you can just sort of hold it upright, place them, and then put your dot of glue. So this will take a little bit of time because you need to let your glue dry before you can move on to the next one. So go ahead and take your time and glue down each one of those. This is how it should look once you get your crystals all glued into place. And yes, you are going to see that little glob of glue on there. If that's something that bothers you, you can do your bling wrap strip. I did a single strip here. You can do it, glue that across each one of those. To me, that so far it's not bothering me. I don't see it as a problem. So what I'm going to be doing next is going around and glue my bling wrap all the way on this outer edge, because I also think it's just going to add a really nice touch to the whole heart. So I'm going to start here at the upper part and start gluing. Now sometimes the hot glue does not adhere to the painted surface all that great. So if you are concerned that this is going to be handled a lot and you want to make sure that that doesn't come off, then you would want to also use E6000, probably in addition to your hot glue, and just go all the way around and glue your bling wrap. Now this was a 3-strand of bling wrap, and I went ahead and cut off 1 strand so I could do it around the edge, and that left me with 2 strands, which is what I used for the hanging hook on our battery pack. So you can put it as many layers as you want, or as many rows I should say, and just kind of make it your own. Now if you were doing the farmhouse version of this, at this point you would probably be using some nautical rope or some twine. And then I was thinking of some ideas for what to actually hang down instead of crystals, because crystals aren't really farmhousey. They could maybe be a shabby chic look if you want, but you could hang you could either take little strips of fabric that are cut and you can tie them in little knots. That would be really cute to give sort of a shabby chic farmhouse look. Or you can tie some twine with some hanging beads on them, that you maybe 1 or 2 beads that you string on there and tie a knot on the bottom so they don't fall off. So there are definitely options. Use your imagination. I didn't want to buy 4 of these hearts and make 2 versions, so sorry about that, guys. I'm going with the glam version. I think it'll be really great for my Valentine. Oh my gosh, you guys, I skipped one really important step. And now that I finally got all this, my bling wrap glued on, I realized that before you put your bling wrap on, you want to start wrapping your lights around. I totally forgot my favorite part. So I have my 2 battery packs here, and I have the 2 cords coming down, and right about here where the thicker part of the cord ends is where I'm going to be starting. So I'm going to go on the back side here, and I'm going to glue these in place, and I'm going to start kind of wrapping around from there. So I'm kind of gluing those down. Actually, I want them kind of to be closer together. If you want to somehow attach those, maybe you want to wrap those cords with bling wrap, that's another thought as well. So I'm going to let those glue down really well, and then you won't need to do anything as far as gluing down your lights, because being wire, it'll just wrap and stay nicely around the plastic part. I've glued down the 2 little plastic parts that contain the wires, and then I'm going to take and start wrapping one at a time here, and put one to the side. Now, one of these strands here will go all the way around the heart and partially up the center. So depending on how tightly you wrap it, you can have a lot of them around the outside, like do half of the heart with one strand and half with the other strand. Or you can do it as I did before, kind of loosely around, where one strand goes all the way around and then use the other one to kind of twine in between here. I'm just gonna start wrapping kind of loosely around, and you wanna go one through each section so that it sort of stays in place. I'm going to keep wrapping, and then once I get one strand wrapped, I'll show you and we'll see what I'm going to do with that second strand. Okay, so when I finished wrapping the one strand of lights, basically it came down to about halfway down my heart. So I finished that first strand and wrapped it here to my right. I'm taking the second strand and I'm going to start wrapping it to the left and then going across all of these horizontal lines here so that we'll have some lighting in between there, which will be really pretty with the crystals. Now, something else that you guys, I did not go with my gut, and I know I should have, but you may notice that some of my crystals now are no longer attached in the centers. So what I'm going to do once I get this project finished, I'm going to actually go through and use a little dot of E6000 glue under my little hot glue dot and glue that into place where I want it. That's going to have to happen at the end because that E6000 is going to need some time to dry. So what I'm going to work on right now is go through and wrap the rest of my lights, and I will be back to show you the next step after. All right, gang, onwards and upwards. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying my channel, give me a thumbs up and let me know what you think of this project. I know it's been a little chaotic in here, but I'm doing my best for you. So anyway, I hope you're enjoying it, and let me know what you think. So I have this front piece done. I now have my other piece that I just brought in. Now when you paint these, especially for this piece, since this is the front, so what I did is I just spray painted this part and I left this pretty much unpainted because this is part of the problem why our hot glue wasn't sticking in the first place. We're gonna flip our crystal-y heart upside down so that the crystals are not in our way when we're trying to glue this other part together. And once we get them all out of the way here, we're going to be actually gluing this piece in place right on top of the other one. So go ahead and use your glue gun and get that job done. So maybe putting the fairy lights on afterwards would be a good thing because it will also help hold your hearts together. I don't know, you guys can experiment and let me know if you make this project, what you do and what worked. Now, if you would like, at this point we can be done, or if you would like to, and it depends on whatever you want to do, you can go through around this side and put your bling wrap on there as well. I'm going to actually go ahead and do that because it's just, I feel like it'll give it a little more polished look. So for that one, I'm going to use the rest of that bling wrap with a double strip of it, and then put that should fit just perfectly around and gives it a really nice clean look. Once I get this bling wrap on there, I'm going to go through and, as I had told you before, re-glue those crystals in place so that they hang centered. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this all finished and lit up and beautimous. Okay, stay tuned.